John, I was thrilled to watch your movie. Usually we always think of a Dear John, but here we are with Dear David.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, you're changing the subject of the deer. So I understand that you felt that this was a story about trauma in the digital age that needed to be told. What is it that fascinated you from the beginning?
Like the idea of like just sort of having a bit of dramatic license with the sort of the Adam Ellis story and watching a guy that sort of that sort of grew up in Montana in the 90s, which must have been really, really tough for like a gay man, a kid growing up gay. That must have been like really traumatic. It must have been really, really, really difficult. And the fact of that he's in this story, he ends up with like all these sort of outside pressures. His relationships falling apart, his friendships are falling apart, all while he's gaining this internet notoriety. Like that really spoke to me. That was like, that's like we all, yeah. And the idea of this sort of like, this twisted childhood that he sort of grew up with, and then there's this literal child sitting across from him, like, like with a bashed in head is, really indicative of like of him growing up. So there was so much of it that kind of sort of went, oh, this is a lot of fun, and this could be a lot of fun. So yeah, it was all Adam Ellis, the character, that sort of like that sold it on me.
This is based on a true story that appeared on Twitter. Did you find yourself digging into the rabbit hole?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like it was fascinating to find out about things, like, like when you start diving into things and how people have sort of came to the conclusion that Adam Ellis isn't actually Adam Ellis anymore. The thing that was haunting him is now residing in him because of these Twitter pictures and things like that. It's just madness as well. Like online sleuths and like they're sort of like the way that they've came to conclusions about things are brilliant, and it's so I kind of dived into a lot of that sort of stuff, doing a lot on online reading, and yeah. But I'm a child of the internet. I love it.
So when you were filming, did you ever find yourself going home and just laying in bed and thinking and looking at a corner every now and then and just visualizing what if this moved?
Nancy, like that's literally my biggest fear. Like that's after I've like had so I stayed in this hotel. Oh, I've got a brilliant horror story, a haunting story. I was staying in the hotel that I was staying in while I was shooting. It was haunted apparently, like and I was in prep over Halloween and sort of like was working right up to like 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, right, I'm going to take a wander about the sort of like the lower floors of where this is supposed to be haunted and try and like find ghosts. So yes, so I ended up becoming obsessed with ghosts while I was making this. Yes.
You do believe in paranormal activity?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, paranormal, you can think it in different ways. Other people are like, oh, it's like spooky things jumping out, or even just the fact of that, like life I've been guided. Do you know what I mean? Like there's certain things that push me certain ways and away from certain things, and there's certain things that sort of like the unexplainable feelings and things like that. Like so. I believe in something, and there is something there that's sort of particularly helping me. Don't know if they're helping you, but they're helping me anyway.
I know I believe I grew up with something like that at the house we lived at. But my mom always said, don't be afraid of the dead, be afraid of those alive.
Nancy, that's what my mother says. My mother lives in a graveyard. Like she's always wanted to like live in a graveyard, and her and my dad bought a house, like the old gravekeeper's house, and they live in the graveyard. And people were always like, "You're not scared about like living in, with all these dead people?" She's like, "You don't need to worry about the dead. It's the living I need to worry about."
That is very true. Very true. Now, talk to me about getting the perfect person to play Adam, because I mean that's not an easy one because a lot of the scenes were basically, I mean, 80% of the film was just him.
Yeah, I mean, so for the first, well, like I said a prayer and got Augustus because like I needed someone that wasn't just going to see character and in a movie. Like I wanted someone that got it, and Augustus had just gone through like a whole thing, and he says he'd just come through a lot of trauma, when this script landed at his desk, he'd been feeling like so much better, and as I said, worked through a lot of things, and he could see a lot of himself in Adam Ellis. He suffers from sleep paralysis himself, and he believes in ghosts, and so everything I needed in an Adam Ellis, I got from Augustus, and he threw himself into this. And for the first 2 weeks of filming, we basically shot the end first, so it was just him in this apartment, like crying and screaming with two cats and a child. Again, he just threw himself at it. And then on like week 3, we started to get like casting for him to interact with, and like the change in him was just like was phenomenal, and like seeing him be able to sort of actually like bounce off of people was brilliant.
Speaking of the cats, I personally have 2 cats. So I watch the film in the morning because I can't do horror at night. Otherwise, I can't sleep. But now, as I was watching it, I kept looking at my cat, like, what are they doing? What are they going to notify me about? Now I can't help it but do that.
I'll get the dog behind me there. The cats were a lot of fun. Like they
How do you direct? How do you direct cats?
Oh, I'd never done it before. So like working with children and animals at the same time. But no, the child was brilliant. Like Cameron, he was a total pro. He was like the loveliest kid, And then the 2 cats were hilarious because one would always run away and the other one would stay. Right, just didn't move. Right, so when you wanted them to stay, one would run away and one would stay. And when you wanted them to run away, one would run away and one would stay. But like they were very funny, very funny.
So which one of the scenes would you say was the most challenging? Was it the end?
I mean, like the fire in itself, and like all of that was always going to be difficult because I'd never worked with practical fire before, and like we've obviously you have to. So that was always going to be difficult. There was a lot of things happening and going on. I am jumping between 2 apartments that one's actually there and one's not there, and so you're sort of trying to sort of do that. But none of it was too challenging. Everything was sort of like I had an amazing crew. Like my director of photography is just a wonderful, wonderful human being. In fact, the whole crew were just wonderful people. Canadians, like the loveliest people in the world, and they were such like they worked so hard because we had a lot to get through. We shot it all in 25 days, and that's a momentous task for any crew anyway. So we would have we'd get good days, we had bad days, we had difficult days, we had easy days, but as a team we just worked through it and just kept on pushing through it, and yeah, it was great.
So one of the characters was the chair. How many chairs did you go through?
there was only 2 of them because we had to have one, obviously, like, but we only like had one real one. So like one of the last shots of the film was us throwing that chair down the stairs, like so yeah, but that was great. It took us a while to find that chair as well, because you want the kid to feel small, but you also don't want him to feel too small, and and so bigger chair, like put the kid in it. Oh, and then how does he sit, and like he's sliding off it because it's that leather. It's like all these wee kind of things.
So do we have more Dear David?
More Dear David?
Well,
you want?
I mean, you leave us at more with that ending.
I really, really enjoyed shooting that ending. That was a lot of fun. The girl that played Chloe was just the loveliest girl as well. And we had so much fun. Like I was laughing like so much behind the camera for smashing her face, and like I was running and throwing blood on her face, and it's like go again, run and throw more blood, right? Yeah. If I'm doing things like that, then 100%.
Do scenes like that are those easier to direct when you have the talent, the actor having to stare at a camera?
I mean, that was just fun. Like the girl that played Chloe was just a total like pro. She was just so much fun, and she got it. She knew what she was doing, and like the only things is you're trying to sort of direct is like we with the head hits, and sort of like how many times we do it to come back. Like the first time you do it, then you can it's like, and because it's a fixed camera, you can't really move or anything. So that was all no bother, but it was like, just trying to get in and get the blood right and get all the levels of it and get it all in the face, go again, yeah, no, it was that was just a lot of fun.
Thank you for your time. And people are going to be watching what, the 13th, October 13th?
October 13th.
Perfect. Well, thank you again and congratulations.
No, thank you, Nancy. It was lovely to meet you. Enjoy your coffee.
Thank you. I will.